All right, we're about to be on here in just a moment. Just I'm going to give everybody a chance to join in live, and then we'll go from there. All right, well, good evening, everybody. This is Ken Johnson here. I'm in the First Alert Storm Center here, and you see the flashing on there, the First Alert Weather Day, and basically I have all weekend long. And you might wonder what First Alert Weather Day is. Well, basically, it's just something that we do that lets you know that when we put one of these out, that the weather on that particular day could have impacts on you and impacts on your plan. Of course, weather always impacts your plans, but these particular days are ones that really could impact your plans. And that would be this weekend. That would be for maybe you're planning for college football games. Maybe you're planning on going to a Midwestern game, or maybe you have outdoor plans, and this could impact your day. We're looking at mostly a heavy rain event, but there will be a chance for some strong to severe storms, okay? So, I mean, I don't think that that's the main threat. I think the more serious threat would be the heavy rain and flooding. And that's honestly, that's not a bad thing. We really need the rainfall, and it looks like we're going to get it. It's one of the best setups I've seen for heavy rain here in quite sometimes. So that is exactly what First Alert Weather Days are. Let's get this down here for you so you can see here a bit. My guy who cuts my hair wound up cutting too much of it off yesterday. So if you say, wow, Ken's got a bad haircut, that's the reason why. I don't like it. But anyway, I love you, Ron. And most of the time, we do a great job at this time, a little bit too much. So anyway, we do got this threat for thunderstorms coming into the mix. And of course, you can ask questions if you want to. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them. Certainly, we'll do my best to answer them here. So hoping to get more people on here to watch, but I do understand it is Friday evening and people have plans. So we'll just kind of take what we got and we'll leave it on my page here. And if you want to go back and look at it later on, you can. So let's talk about the threat without further ado here. So this is Saturday. Now, I do not expect rain all day tomorrow. If you have outdoor plans tomorrow through the first part of the day, you will probably be okay. I can't rule out a shower or something early on, but it looks like morning and during the morning and afternoon, unless things speed up and change, you'll probably see quite a few storms developing over into this area first. That would be morning, early afternoon. And then as we get into the afternoon, we'll probably see some type of a line or some type of a cluster. We call these MCSs, or mesoconvective systems. That's just the term we use in the world of weather. It develops over this way, and it will begin to move eastward. Now, how fast it moves is a good question. The upper level winds in our atmosphere, which really help push these things along, are going to be kind of located, kind of be like this, deep southerly flow, kind of in this direction here. So when that happens, oftentimes when storm areas develop, they don't move that fast. You can see they'll kind of line out and they'll kind of just very slowly move or even remain kind of stationary sometimes. You don't have that westward push. So if that happens, we may wind up not seeing the storms get here into Wichita Falls or even further to the east until tomorrow evening, and that would be good for the Midwestern game here. But our main concern with these storms as of right now to me looks like gusty winds and very heavy rainfall. Those are the main two concerns. I mean, I cannot, we'll look at some tornado parameters, and I know everybody's always concerned about that. We'll look at that in a moment, but that's just the main concerns right now. So that would be Saturday. That would be wave number one. And if everything comes together, we'll see those rain, those storm areas continuing into tomorrow night and into early on Sunday. Now, as we head into, I'll back up here a bit. Now, as we head into Sunday, not a lot changes. Only thing that's a little bit different on Sunday is the main storm system, which is going to be out to our west, begins to move eastward some, especially by late in the day and at night. We have a dry line. This will separate some very humid air for this time of the year to the east. So we can label this really humid here from some really super dry air. It's almost just like something you'd see in the springtime. That's a sharp dry line. So the dry line will probably be a focus for thunderstorms during the afternoon. There may even be some leftover thunderstorm boundaries as well. So while we may start off with some thunderstorms Sunday morning, we might see a bit of a break and then we might see some more coming our way during the afternoon. I think that the threat for severe weather, if everything comes together, could be a little bit higher on Sunday. But once again, I think our main concern remains heavy rainfall and flooding, especially if we see a lot of heavy rain tomorrow night. And those areas that do receive the heavy rainfall, get hit again with some more rainfall, then flooding becomes a concern. We're also going to watch out for gusty winds, and there even could be, and this could even be the case again tomorrow, could at least be a low-wind tornado threat. So we will keep an eye on that part of it for you here. So it looks like we do got some people on here watching. Now, I'm going to get to the tornado chances here in a moment, but again, I'm going low at that. We'll talk about it a little bit more in detail in just a moment. Everybody wants to know about the tornado chances, but that is not the main concern tomorrow. Flooding is going to be our biggest concern this weekend. That's our biggest concern here. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We actually need a good flood to help fill these lakes and these rivers and everything back up. This is a La Nina weather pattern that we've been in all fall. That's why it's been so warm. We've been transitioning to it. But oftentimes, La Nina can still bring extreme weather conditions. I mean, you can go from really dry to wet. La Nina can, for the most part, on average, is a pretty boring, dull pattern for us, but it can be interesting from time to time. So, once again, over the weekend, mostly concerned about this here, the secondary concern of that. Oh, there could be a little hail and maybe, again, a lower-end tornado threat. Matter of fact, let's talk about the tornado threat for tomorrow. Now, this is based upon a computer model only, okay? This is not my forecast. This is called significant tornado parameter, about what you're about to look at here. And what the significant tornado parameter does is it basically is something that some really smart people put together, and it takes into consideration all the elements in the atmosphere that would be needed to produce tornadoes. And the higher the number, the higher the value, or in this case, we'll follow the color scale up here I have in my up here. So the higher the number, the more worried you're about for significant tornadoes. So what it would do is this takes into account wind shear or low-level wind shear. That's what causes the twist in the atmosphere. It takes into account how high up the storm bases will be. A high storm base happens when the humidity values are low. You don't have to worry about tornadoes very much with that. But it also takes into account lower storm bases, which in our case here would be more humid. We'd probably see a lower storm base. And it also takes into account how much energy is available in the atmosphere. And also, is there a cap? And also, it takes into consideration, do we have storms? So this is tonight. You're seeing a little bit of that color over to the west. That's probably primarily because overnight, at nighttime, your low-level jet increases, and that's probably what that's showing over there in eastern New Mexico. Now, this is into tomorrow. You're seeing during the afternoon, we'll stop it here, what's considered a very low tornado SIG-TOR value. And in this case, it would be a color. But that color is also assigned a number. And probably in this type of situation, your SIG-TOR value will be 1 or less. Now, remember what I was saying. As you get into the evening, as you get after sunset, the low-level jet increases some. It'll help increase low-level wind shear some. So you do see the red values going up tomorrow evening. And, if you were to see supercells in this type of an environment, maybe there might be a chance for some tornadoes here or there. But if you got what we call messy storm modes, or you got a line of thunderstorms in this case, you're probably not dealing with that as much. So, and at this point in time, we're going to be dealing with some type of a line or some type of storm clusters. And after the sun sets, you might even begin to see the cap increase a little bit. But this is overnight tomorrow night. Now you can see those values increasing kind of into a moderate range down there in some of our area. And then later on at night, it begins to decrease a bit. And then we get into Sunday here. And as the main storm begins to move a little bit closer to us, you might begin to see those tornado values go up a little bit. But remember, widespread storms can also limit that a little bit too. So without further ado, what does the model show as far as storms? That's the most important thing here. So here we are tomorrow morning. I cannot rule out a shower throughout the day. This would be, but you can see in morning, afternoon, most of your activities over here across our western counties. We have some areas of some scattered thunderstorms over there in southwest Oklahoma, far northwest Texas, maybe over towards Quanah, Childress, those areas, Altus. And then you see a larger area of thunderstorms to the west. Remember what I was talking about, though, when our winds, the upper level winds are going to be kind of a bit causing this storm area perhaps maybe to slow down a bit. And if that happens, you're going to wind up seeing a lot of heavy rain. So here we go into the afternoon. Here we are, but you can see how a lot of this activity stays to our west. And remember, this is just a model, though. I cannot rule out a chance for at least some showers and thunderstorms even closer to us during the afternoon, a little bit more over us. But there's your line in the afternoon around 3:30. You know, in that line, especially where you get those kinks, there could be some gusty winds. You know, if you can get some thunderstorm development out ahead of that line, or if that line can break up, or you know, something into that magnitude, then the atmosphere would favor some supercells. And if you were to get supercells, then your severe threat would go up, especially in terms of, you know, some hail. But within that line, again, you got very heavy rainfall and gusty winds within that line. So a line of storms usually produces a greater threat for wind damage. Supercells increase the threat for larger hail and more significant tornadoes. So you can see that line, if this model's correct, which it typically does a pretty good job, but I'm not sold that we're going to see this many supercells around the area tomorrow evening. If we were, I'd be a little bit more concerned about the threat for more significant severe weather. And there may even be a secondary area over there towards Dallas and those areas, but there's your line of storms. And this could be a little bit on the slow side, but it does slowly bring that line of storms through overnight tomorrow night into early Sunday. There we are Sunday morning. Of course, don't forget to set those clocks back by 1 hour on Sunday. Like it or not, is here. And then here we are late morning into the early parts of the afternoon here on Sunday. May see a bit of a break here, and then you see thunderstorms developing to the west. That'll be another cluster or line of thunderstorms coming through. And once again, with the amount of wind shear in the atmosphere, if we were to get some of these storms to be semi-discrete, there might be a little bit of a tornado threat. So we're not going to rule that out tomorrow night, not going to rule it out late tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, or Sunday. But again, I think that the bigger risk is going to be heavy rain. Now, if you want to know how much rain is going to fall, this is the HRRR computer model showing rainfall amounts. It shows basically widespread amounts across most of the area through early Sunday into the 2 to 5 inch range. And where you see those pink colors, it may even be a bit higher than that. I'm going to refine this just a little bit, though, and my heavy rainfall outlook, and I still think widespread, you know, 1 to 2 inches, maybe even more, certainly looks very likely across the area. But I think the heaviest rain area could be maybe Wichita Falls and off to the northwest there, and then kind of up towards Lawton and Oklahoma City, somewhere in the area. That area could receive more than 6 inches of rain. So again, this is one of the best setups I've seen for heavy rain here in a long time, and the reason why is the thunderstorms, the moisture, the upper level flow is perfect for it, and the movement of this could be pretty slow. So to kind of go back on things, if you are you know, tomorrow throughout the day it's not raining, you saw the weatherman miss his forecast again. I knew we weren't going to get rain. Don't say that, because that's not what I'm forecasting. I'm going with lower end chances for rain during the day on Saturday. My best chances for rain come tomorrow night into early Sunday. That's when my best chances for rain will be here. And again, depending on how everything comes together, heavy rain certainly is a given. That's not even in question. Could be some flooding. That certainly is possible. But again, depending on how things come together, severe weather also is a possibility with this type of a pattern. I don't think it's one of our higher severe weather events, but it certainly is something we'll have to keep an eye on there. So I hope I didn't confuse you too much here this afternoon or this evening. So I always worry about that when I start talking about a lot of these things, because a lot of it could be a lot of it can be very confusing, because there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot in the thought process that go through it. And just because you see a lot of bright colors on a map does not mean that we're going to, see, significant tornadoes, despite what a lot of the YouTubers will tell you. So it just depends on a lot of different things. Storm mode, it depends on, do we have enough instability? It depends on, what do things look like, So again, my area of concern remains the highest with flooding, gusty winds, lower threats for hail and tornadoes. I will update that as needed. And remember, we'll have another update coming up tonight. The 0Z, or the evening runs of our weather data, will be coming out here in the next 2 to 3 hours. So I'll try to do another update. We usually do weather after dark, and we'll do weather after dark, but I'll update weather itself during weather after dark tonight too. Hopefully Cameron will be with me then too, and we can discuss it some in a little bit of detail there. Our plan for the weekend, I really don't have a big plan for the weekend as far as staffing goes. As of right now, Cameron's going to be here, both Saturday and Sunday, keeping an eye on things. Jaden and I are both on call. We're kind of wait and see mode how everything plays out. We could theoretically send the tracker out some, maybe if we start getting a lot of flooding, or if we are in a situation where we are seeing severe weather, we could always do that. But if not, if that's not the case, which I do think I do think it'll be active, then we may not do anything out of the ordinary here. So remember, if you are a storm chaser or a streamer that likes to talk about weather, remember we're trying to do some stuff with that at this point in time. So I've got a way now to be able to pull you in some, so we might be able to show more stuff in the future, hopefully. So I do appreciate you guys watching here. If you missed anything, this is on my page. You can go back and watch it again. It's just, I went into as much detail as I could, and hopefully I didn't confuse you much. But I will have another update tonight a little bit later on, so make sure that you stick around for that, and look for the Facebook Live or YouTube Live, one or the other, whatever you're on, update there, so we can so you can get the latest information. And of course, over the weekend we'll be off and on here as well. So. All right, y'all, have a great evening. I'm going to head home and get myself a bite to eat. I will holler at y'all a little bit later on. We'll see you then.